better late than never. My November reading month was a bit of a roller coaster. It started to feel kind of slumpish towards the beginning, but it did get better. It got much, much better. So stick around with me. Welcome old and new friends. I'm Arlene and this is Books by the Coast by Arlene and Company. I am so glad you're here. Grab your lukewarm drink and let's chat books. Like I was gonna have another one of those months, kind of like October, where I had maybe one or two very standout novels, but then other than that, you know, it was okay. But then it got better. It got much, much better. And I was really excited about that. So let's chat about those books. I'm a big library user if you're new here. So I will pop up the books because most of them I have already returned. And some of them I also did on audio. And I'm a little nuts. So sometimes I do the audio and the physical book at the same time. That's just who I am. Okay, so I'm gonna go in the order that I read everything, and I do read multiple books at a time, so this is kind of skewed, but in the order that I finished everything. Let's say that's a better distinction. And if you missed my last video, it is a reading blog, so you can see some of my initial impressions and also my fresh impressions with certain novels that I took on our week-long cruise over Thanksgiving week. Make sure you catch that as well. I'll link it down in the description box below. The first title that I finished was Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. And this is a fantasy series. Oh my goodness, it made me feel like, you know what, girl, you need to move on to other genres because this is not where it's at for you anymore. Now, this was not a bad read by any means, but it was a little bit of a mental workout. I had to take a lot of notes on this one because I had to keep the characters straight. I had to keep which faction or whatever they call them did what. Everyone had different powers. There were secret societies. There was dual timelines. All this stuff used to be like my main squeak. So at Yale, there's 8 occult societies. Each of them practices a different type of magic. Alex is unique, or Galaxy, because she can see ghosts, and that apparently is something like extra addiction. She survived all kinds of things before reaching the point of getting to this university, getting to Yale. So it's not the normal like, oh, girl goes to high school, high performing, and ends up in an Ivy. It was not that. It actually had more struggle to get there. So I did appreciate that. It wasn't like the typical Trillis is investigating a death of a local girl named Tara. This is part of the synopsis. I'm not ruining anything for you, so no worries. And then it also switches back to which was her first few months at Yale. So it wasn't like a big stretch where you have dual timelines, and usually it's like way like you know, several decades. Major trigger warnings with this one, like SA. This will be a difficult read for some of you, so just a trigger warning there. Her journey, her very dark past and traumatic past had a major component to her arc, and it was pivotal to her journey. So although some of those scenes definitely could do without, it was very important for her character and for the plot line. So I just wanted to mention there's definitely a trigger warning with this title. I found the writing very very vivid, kept you definitely on your toes. I just felt exhausted reading this, but I know that other people will really enjoy it and enjoy the series. I gave it like 3.5 stars, but really that's not a bad score in my book. And it's someone else will rate this much higher than me. I just felt mentally exhausted by everything that was going on. And maybe I was just not in the mood set to be that confused. It was a lot to keep up, and the notes help. Not enough though. Okay. The next book that I read, I had really high hopes for it. And I'm not gonna say it was bad, because it was not bad. It was really beautifully written, and the reason I picked up another title, which I am enjoying way more, by the same author, The Lost Bookshop by Evie. Now, I wanted more magic from this book, and it wasn't exactly what I was expected. So maybe that's why I gave it 3.5 stars, because I went in expecting something different, and maybe that was my fault. But I wanted more of the magical realism element to it, and I didn't get that exactly. It was like twinkles in it. This also has trigger warning, violence, and it is vividly depicted in several scenes. This is a vanishing bookshop with the storylines of multiple timelines as well. That element was much easier to keep track of in this title, and the writing was very raw. It was beautifully written. However, I was missing some of that pizzazz, you know, that little bit of pizzazz. I went into it thinking there was going to be a little bit more of magic in it, and I really wasn't getting that. It didn't have like a tied up little bow of situations with the relationships and the love stories or developing stories and the friendships. And, you know, there was some surprise elements to it that was like not shocking, but it kept it interesting. So I did enjoy that, but it did knock down some points for me just because I went in thinking it was gonna be a little bit more sparkly, and I guess it wasn't. And maybe that was my fault, but I did enjoy her writing style very much, so I decided to pick up another title, which I will tell you what that is at the end, so stick around. The next one was additional book in the Dream Harbor series, and that's the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore by Laurie Gilmore. This is probably the last title that I will read from this series. It kind of started out of order. I picked up book 4 as my first read, which was a good hit for me. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm not normally a romance type of reader, but I really did enjoy that story. So I backtracked and went back to book 1 because they're technically standalones, and I did the pumpkin spice one. It was okay. I didn't care for it that much. I mean, it was okay. Then I did the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, which I enjoyed more than the pumpkin spice, but this one had a little bit more spice to it and made me realize or finally accept that I may be more of a closed door romance reader if I go into that genre. And that's okay. That's okay. I know it's not popular to say, but I just like, can we go back to the story, like, please? And this book made me realize that. Now, I do think the development of the story and their relationship was, you know, it was entertaining. It kept me hooked. It had a little bit of a mystery element. You have the girl that is running the bookstore. You have the farmer guy, the whole like coastal type, you know, which I like that. Coastal town, me being in a coastal town, I like that. So you had the small town, had like hidden messages in the books, which she was trying to figure out like who was writing on the books and leaving these little notes for her to figure out this adventure. So the whole little storyline goes through that, but more into their relationship and how that develops. It was pretty much predictable. Like, I think like they're meant to be Hallmark type of vibe. I think it was a satisfying read, a palate cleanser. I gave it, let's see, what did I do? I gave it 3.5 stars again. This is why I said I started my month thinking, we're gonna do this again. But 3.5 stars is not a bad rating in my book, okay? It's not bad. It's not bad. But I think I'm done with this series. I just want to jump into what I enjoy more. Maybe I will get in the mood for this again. I know it's popular. I think I love the idea of it, but I don't know. The instant attraction, I don't know. Like, I am, give me more Jane Austen vibe. The slow burn, like super slow. Really enjoy the books that were like, I instantly love you. I just met you and we're in love forever. That just like, okay, can we be a little real? Just like a little. Unless this is a fantasy, like, let's be for real. The next title that I read was At the Coffee Shop of Curiosity by Heather Weber. I had been recommended this author by my friend Kelly from Beaches and Reads when it comes to magical realism and like small town or southern town. It was where she said this is where it's at, and I truly did enjoy her writing style. I have her newest title on hold in my library, and that hasn't come in yet, but I read this, so actually I listened to this title on my way to ballet. So this girl Ava receives this mysterious letter with a job offer into this like small town with the coffee shop of Curiosities, and she decides to take this job. This was after the death of her ex-boyfriend, so there's like a whole other mystery element to it from the get-go. I really love the way that she does mystery, because it's very like not purposely confusing, but it keeps you wondering. So she doesn't try to throw like 27 different pieces at you, but it does it in such a way that keeps you curious, engaged, but not confused, right? So I did find it not super easy to follow. Let's not make it like, you know, she wasn't clever, because she was clever, but I did find it very interesting to follow and to see the friendships develop in this storyline, and just the whole vibe in the small town feel. I was in my small town like era at this point, and I really did enjoy this title, and I can't wait for her new book. This was a 4-star read for me. Next, this was an ARC read. I gave a little preview on one of my reading blogs, and this is a nonfiction. My only nonfiction title this month is The Great Shadow, A History of How Sickness Shapes What We Do, What We Think, Believe, and Buy by Susan Wise Bauer. This author and, you know, teacher, historian, writer is someone that we have known for a while, because as a homeschool family, my kiddos used to use her curricula, which was Story of the World, which tells, you know, world history in a narrative format. So we really always enjoyed her writing style. And then there's high school levels and all that jazz. And I just really always felt like no one tells the story of history like Susan Wise Bauer. You know, you can have all kinds of different feels, but no one tells history like Susan Wise Bauer. This to me is so freaking fabulous. This is a 5-star read for me. 5-star, and I'm reading it again for annotation purposes. So I did a quick read-through, quick-ish read-through of the whole thing, and now I'm taking notes because I am adapting this for my oldest, which is homeschool high school, and we are doing a year of history through diseases and plagues and stuff like that. So when I saw this, and they were so generous enough, the publisher, to send me an advanced copy, I was super excited. This comes out in January, and I'll leave the link down below if you'd like to go ahead and pre-order. But it's like you forget that you're reading a nonfiction piece because the way she tells the story of history, and now the story of history like through diseases and medical advancement and all that stuff, and how everything intertwines, like I need more days to like fully articulate how well this is done. I think this is fabulous, and I think that if you're into this topic, that you will enjoy it as well. Shut up about this anytime soon. So I will be writing, I did a really first impression type of review. I'll be talking about this again as I finish annotating this, but I wanted to like do a quick read through so I can get an idea of what she has created here. As an RN, I was already intrigued, and then as a history nerd, intrigued, and then as a book nerd, intrigued. So this was a major hit for me, and I'm already rereading it so I can take more detailed notes. Fantastic. Freaking fantastic. To St. Martin Press for sending this my way, and Susan Wise Bauer, because yes. So we talked about my reading projects for the next year. Now this is something that I had started a while ago, but I didn't fully focus on actually making it happen. I would do a novel here and there, but now I made like a very intentional plan for revisiting my 90s high school reading list, my childhood favorites. However, I was supposed to start this in 2026 because I already had a lot on my plate. I did my 10 before the end and all that jazz. But I couldn't wait because I was in the mood. Give your girl a classic and I'm okay. I love classics. not all classics, but I love classics. I'm a classic reader. Just as much as modern lit, I love a classic. So the first one I went with, I was gonna do like freshman year, sophomore year, junior, senior, and actually follow the reading list as if I was in school. But then I remember I'm a mood reader, so what am I doing? That's not gonna happen. First one I did was Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And then I'm like, oh, her 250th birthday is coming up. And of course I ordered myself a present. I'll show you guys when that comes in. I think it's gonna be a bit, but I ordered myself a present because I normally, like I said, I borrow a lot from the library. This one was a special edition that I got when I used to get the Owl Crate boxes, but I don't own like physical copies of a lot of my favorite classic reads, and I'm going to Pride and Prejudice this time around. It has been probably 20 years since I've read this. I don't know why it took me so long to come back here. Complete and utter obsession with great writers. I mean, I feel like it's an insult to give this a star rating. It's almost like an insult, but I mean, if I must, yeah, it's 5 stars. This was so refreshing. This is exactly what I needed to end the month with. This came with me on our cruise. I have like What's in Between. And Jane Austen, I've missed you, and we're gonna visit everything else again from the canon. But this was so good, so good. Second time around, I don't think I fully appreciated what I was reading when I was in high school and I read this for the first time, especially, you know, because the language. I had another 5-star read, and that was The Dead Romantics. I go into a lot of details and a lot of my thoughts on the spot because I read this during my cruise and I finished it during the cruise, and I give you all my full thoughts, but I'm just going to give you a quick recap on this video. You can watch that other one if you were interested in all the details. The Dead Romantics by Poston. I was expecting an easy peasy type of read. I was not expecting as much depth as I got. Now in this title, she is a ghostwriter for a romance novel. Writing the 4th book in a series, and it's the final one that's the contract for. And she goes and visits her new editor to basically ask for an extension, not knowing if this editor knows that she is actually indeed the ghostwriter for this author, which, no, I'm not gonna tell you that because that's gonna ruin some stuff for you. But anyways, he's like, girl, no. So there was no instant sparks or anything like that, but he's like, no, it's due tomorrow, like on my desk tomorrow, or I'm seeking legal actions. So shortly after she leaves, she gets a call from back home. Something tragic happened with her family. Her family owns a funeral parlor. Like, hello, you had me at funeral parlor. That makes me want to reach you more. So homegirl sees ghosts. She's been seeing ghosts since, I don't know, I think since she was young, but she has started ignoring them when she moved away from home. She hadn't been home for a long time. She goes back home. Remember, her family owns a funeral parlor, and lo and behold, guess who's there? It is her editor that she just met with to ask for an extension. He did. So, you know, she's like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? So that's how everything unfolds. Watch the other video to just get all my in the moment reactions too. It's so good, you guys. The pauses, the intentionality, the raw emotions, the trauma, the complexity, her character, the, peeling the layers of, the other characters, just layer by layer, and how things were unraveled in such a intentional way and delicate way that it felt timely. I don't care what other people are saying, because I don't look at reviews before I pick up a title, but afterwards I may bump into them, just as you tag something or whatever, and then you see more of the same thing. And I know that it said there were some mixed reviews, and I'm like, I don't care what you say. I loved it. It was freaking amazing. And I want to read everything she's ever written because I thought it was freaking amazing. One of the books that I quote the most for like ever and ever is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Yes, I know it's YA, but I'm a big YA reader. Still to this day, quote that book all the time. This is gonna be in there of books that I quote because there's so many beautiful lines in this title. I got this from the library. I had it also on audiobook. I'm getting a physical copy. I don't do that often. I know I have a big home library, but I don't do that often. That's like years of curation. I'm getting a physical copy because it must be on the shelf of greatness. I had one DNF in the month of November. Surprising, because I'm the queen of DNF. Life's too short. You have 3 chapters to capture my attention. Sometimes I'd go beyond that, but you got 3 chapters. 3, okay? I'm kind of mean. Beach Reads and Deadly Deeds by Alison Brennan. I don't know what I was expecting. I think I was just expecting a fun read with some mystery twist, or a little psychological thriller, and I just couldn't get into the language. I think the language was a little, I don't want to say it was young. It just made me feel disconnected with it. I could not keep going because I was focusing on the wrong thing. So maybe it's a great novel. Maybe I should go back to it. You tell me if you read it. I just could not get into it. And after like chapter 4, I was just like, all right, let's go. Away you go. And that was one of my 10 before the end. So that was my first DNF for my 10 before the end. And I think I've striked 3 of my 10 before the end. They're like, are you gonna make it? Maybe. Obviously, I've taken some detours, but I did admit that I had no business making that list, but it was fun, and maybe I can do it. Maybe. Perhaps. I'll tell you that there was an author that I was revisiting, even though it wasn't a major hit, the first novel, and that's Evie Woods' The Mysterious Bakery on Rue de Paris by Evie Woods. And I am freaking loving this. I haven't been able to finish it because I've been focusing on Anna Karenina. Yes, I was doing the audio on Anna Karenina, and I just can't do the narrator, so I ordered a physical copy. I was gonna get it from the library, but it was taking a little bit too long, and I am like in the middle of the story, so I kind of gotta get to it. I remember fully finishing Anna Karenina back then, teen or early 20s year, but I do remember starting it and I do remember reading some of it, and now I'm really enjoying it. I can't get into it that much because the narrator is just like not hitting it for me, so I took a little bit of a backseat with The Mysterious Bakery. It's like right into it. It's a little bit of a faster pace, but then it slows down. It's, you know, this girl, she gets a job and relocates to what she thinks is going to be Paris, in this mysterious bakery where, you know, they certain pastries or whatever can unlock a hidden memory, bring like luck, a hidden longing. So it has the magical realism element. There is more magic pizzazz in this than the Lost Bookshop for me, so it's hitting enough, but there's so much more going on with the characters in the development and the relationships with it. I'm really enjoying that. What will be the next classic I tackle? I have a few. I want to do Frankenstein, but then I have like so many that I want to get to. So what would I do? I do have to replace the DNF from my 10 before the end just because. So what do I do? If you have a recommendation of what I should revisit, or maybe visit for the first time, I'm not being rigid about it, then let me know in the comments. What was your major hit that you read? And what was your biggest disappointment? I want to hear that too. Like, what was the book that you were like, oh, this is gonna be great, and then you're like, you know, that makes for an interesting conversation too. We had to do the book fit. Okay, so today I am wearing, take a look, it's in a book. A t-shirt. Yes, I'm mostly always wearing a book themed shirt, and I will show that to you every single time. Thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I hope you stick around. Don't forget to support your local library. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.